Well, it's hard to imagine a bigger news week in the game of golf. Let's bring in iseekgolf.com analyst Bruce Young. Bruce, plenty to talk about this week, but I think we probably want to start with the biggest and in many ways the saddest news of the week, the passing of Arnold Palmer, who I know you have a connection with that goes back a very long way.
Oh, morning to you, Rod. Yes, I don't profess to know the man extremely well, but I guess my first exposure to Arnold Palmer was back in 1966, 50 years ago, when at the age of 12 I was keen to go and see him play an exhibition match in Dunedin in New Zealand at the Otago Golf Club. He was playing a series of exhibitions with Bob Charles, who of course had won the Open Championship just 3 years earlier. My headmaster very gracefully gave me the opportunity to go and see him play, and subsequently, as a result of my experience in caddying, I got to see him play in a few Open Championships, and I got to spend a little bit of time at a gala function in Detroit during a little brief period caddying in some senior tour events for Graham Marsh back in the 90s. But look, I think every professional golfer that's earned $1 out of the game really owes Arnold Palmer a debt of gratitude. He changed the dynamic of the game, more especially through the 60s, early 60s when he went to the Open Championship, certainly changed the dynamic of that event, internationalized the Open Championship, and made golf, commercialized the game in so many respects, not only from the point of view of prize money, but in terms of sports management. His association with Mark McCormick and IMG changed the nature of that as well. So it's a sad day, and I think in many ways there's some parallels when you heard the passing of President Kennedy right back in 1962. I remember where I was then, even though I was very, very young at the time, and I probably will always remember where I was when I heard of the passing of Arnold Palmer. It's a sad day for golf. Golf has been better for him. It'll be poorer without him, but he's certainly made an amazing contribution to the game over a tremendously long period of time.
No question about that, Bruce. Yours, one of, I'm sure, hundreds of thousands of similar stories being shared by people at golf courses and facilities right around the world. You said that professional golfers owe a debt of gratitude to Arnold Palmer. Let's count in that list Rory McIlroy, an $11.5 million payday in what was, frankly, a thrilling finish to the FedEx Cup that the PGA Tour must be just stoked about.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, Rod. That the fact that it went down to the last putt of the last day of the last event of the season after starting 12 months earlier, the much vaunted, the much publicised FedEx Cup really grew some legs this week, I think, when so many permutations, so many scenarios were still very much in the mix from the final round and right down to the playoff, really, because if either Ryan Moore or Kevin Chappell had won the playoff, then Dustin Johnson would have been the FedEx Cup champion. Rory McIlroy, though, really, what a weekend for him. 66 on Saturday, 64 on Sunday, blew the field away to a large extent, got himself into the playoff, and then managed to get the job done there. So really a worthy champion. He's moved closer to the number 2 position in the world. He's not quite there yet, and indeed, in some respects, closer to the world number 1 position. But I think, as you said, the PGA Tour will be delighted with the outcome of this series of FedEx Cup finals.
Yeah, timely win for McIlroy too, Bruce, of course, with the Ryder Cup coming up this week. Well, a week off for the Web.com Tour players, but their season finale coming up, the Web.com Tour Championship in 2 weeks' time. It looks at this stage, Bruce, 3 Australians through to getting their PGA Tour cards for 2017.
Yeah, it's tremendous news for Cameron Smith, who in his rookie season perhaps hasn't fared quite as well as he would have expected, especially given his performances on the PGA Tour last year in the process of getting his PGA Tour card. But I think that learning curve that he's gone through this year will yield results in the years ahead, and that he was able to finish second this week in the third of the 4 Web.com Tour finals and therefore guarantee himself a return to the PGA Tour is great news for him. Also good news for Rod Pampling, who just keeps on keeping on, doesn't he? He's a resilient sort of a character, just finds a way to keep in touch with the PGA Tour, and as a result of his 12th place finish this week, I think he's 11th on the money list. I think that means he's guaranteed a return to the PGA Tour with full status in 2017. And for mine, one of the great stories of the week, really, Brett Druitt from Inverell in New South Wales. Just a bit of a battler in some respects, but he found a way to get to the Web.com Tour through the China Tour. Took that road, not all that easy to do, but by finishing in the top 5 on the China Tour a couple of years ago, got his Web.com Tour status. Now here he is with what appears will be enough money to get to the PGA Tour in 2017. And for mine, that's a really, really good story for a guy that's really battled his way to get there. Good luck to him. Let's hope that he can go on with it from here.
Couldn't agree more, Bruce. Incredibly impressive effort. It's hard to believe that the Web.com tour will be over in 2 weeks. PGA Tour is already over, but it's all going to start up again in just a couple of weeks at the Safeway Open when Tiger comes back, Bruce. We'll look forward to chatting to you next week.
No rest for us, Rod. We'll see you then. Cheers.